X. Like this is an image of a microscopic image of a human blood that contains plasmodium, and this is a microscopic image of human blood that does not contain plasmodium. We know that. So in our case, for example, for the y equals to mx plus c, we know, we have a few examples of what we know. These are true values. So we have the x and we have the y. When x is 5, y is 10. When x is 10, y is 20, etc., etc., etc. But we don't know what happens when x is 1 million, for example, or 2 million, because we don't have the values of m and c to complete that equation so that we get y. And that's what machine learning is. Machine learning is figuring out the m and c. So for example, let's think about this. So let's say we guess. Okay, usually what happens is firstly we guess. So let's say we guess the value of m to be 0.2 and the value of c to be 0.5, right? And then we try it out using the first data sample that we have. So we have 10 and 5. We know that when x is 5, the output is supposed to be 10. So we try it out in our equation, and obviously we get the wrong y value, which is 2.5, and we get an error. Now we use this error, we go back and we use calculus to make changes to the m and c, and so that next time when we put 5 and 10, we don't make the same mistake. It's like basically teaching a child the alphabet, basically saying, hey, look, when you see this, this is an A. So next time when you see something that looks like an A, you're supposed to say it's an A, right? And then we do that for so many other examples. And then eventually we get a model, or in other words, a function that given an input gives us a desired output using some simple few data sets that we have. So what happens with images? Well, with images, it's pretty simple. Like it's kind of the same technique, because images are just essentially pixel values. You know, we can tell one pixel, it has a value between 0 to 255, right? Or we can represent it as 1 and zeros, right? And now in this case, our input is not just one single variable, because at first we had one single variable. That was a single variable calculation. Now we have multivariable calculation. We have a bunch of inputs, right? We have different pixels. Okay, so we use all different pixels, all those different pixels. We attach all those different pixels to parameters. Okay, and then we kind of start off by guessing those parameters, and then for the y value, we can just assign it as 0 or 1. So for example, if you're trying to classify between images of oranges from apples, you can just say if it's an image of an apple, you put it 0. If an image of an orange, you put it 1. And then you give the first image, you can use some Python library to process that into a matrix, and then you get another matrix, you multiply them, and then you get an output, okay? When you get that output, obviously it can either, because at first you're guessing, right? So the first output will be very stupid. Most likely it will give you a huge error, but you can use that error to propagate back using multivariable calculus and make changes to these functions. And at the end, you'll get the best function. So this is kind of how how I understood machine learning, and it really helped me so much. And that's how I made it simple for me being a first year to be able to do machine learning in malaria. Okay. So the outcomes of my research was so awesome, right? I was able to we actually, me and my professor, we were able to build this amazing program that could, detect plasmodium in microscopic images of human blood. And of course, there was a great challenge because at first I was wondering, oh, where can I get the images of this human blood? Um, and what I did was I just contacted my father's friend, who was a doctor at Temeke, at a hospital in Temeke. And after 1 hour on WhatsApp, I managed to convince him to ask his patients whether I could use their blood, the images of their blood for research purposes, right? And the university even offered me to kind of progress more with this research by, attempting to create an Android app and also figure out how to create a hardware that could be mounted on top of the Android phone camera so that it could take microscopic images almost immediately and give you a diagnosis almost immediately. So then, hello everyone, my name is Mohammed Mnete, and I am a software engineering. I'm a software engineer at Google, and I work for Google Pay at the moment. And you're probably asking yourself, well, Mohammed, why did you tell us about this whole story? Well, um, I told you this story because, first of all, I want us today to focus on the fact that there is tech innovation happening in Tanzania. Okay. Um, and well, Tanzania and East Africa, right? And while us right now, I've managed to witness great talents in this event, and us right now, we could be focusing on things like, creating the next Facebook or creating the next Twitter or Snapchat. But that is not something that I want to tell you to do. Though you can do it, it's a really good endeavor, but that's not what I want to tell you to do. I'm also not here to tell you about the problems that we face in Tanzania because obviously you know that, and I'm also not here to tell you that technological innovation is one solution to those problems because we wouldn't even have this program if that wasn't the case. And so, frankly, you do all know about that. So, what am I here to do today? What am I here to talk about? I am here to discuss on the how. Um, because I've noticed that we all know, like most of us here, are really, really, really great individuals. Like yesterday, I was so shocked. Like there were so many amazing presentations. A lot of people know Android, meme stack, Flutter, artificial intelligence, and cloud computing. But my focus today is to kind of explain to you how to translate those skills to solve the challenges in Tanzania. And the first thing that I want to talk about is, first of all, it's not about copying and pasting. Okay, this is a thing that most of us have. And I also used to think this way, which is completely wrong. A solution that works in the UK or USA or Sweden might not work for Tanzania. This might seem too obvious, but it's a huge implication because it means us as Tanzanian developers, we have a huge head start advantage because we are the only people who understand our people best. Okay, um, and you can see if you want to really understand this, okay, many companies have tried to come to the Tanzanian or East African market with different techniques to try to understand, to try to increase their consumer base. For example, Facebook had this messaging feature when I was in secondary school. I remember you could see your notification through text and you can send a message like a Facebook message, but through normal text. So you didn't even have to have access to a computer to be able to have such a feature, right? So these companies are trying to come into our markets, but since they don't know how things work, right, they kind of face all these challenges. So the solutions that work in other countries are very difficult to work in several other countries, and we as Tanzanians have a huge advantage because we understand our country. Okay, and another reason why Tanzania is a gold mine of tech innovation is because you know um, when I was starting off developing apps and websites, I used to look at the West as, a source of all truth, a source of all tools, a source of all solutions. But that's not true because what I came to discover was, with the Facebook example, for example, I just mentioned right now, right? Um, many companies are it's really cool if we look at them to learn skills. But I don't think it's what like I don't think we should look at them for solutions on for how they create their own solutions for the problems that work for them, right? If you're bringing Uber to Tanzania, we don't expect you to right enable using debit cards because most Tanzanians don't use that as a form of payment. We expect you to transition yourself and change yourself to the form of payments that we use so that your products can work with us, if that makes sense in one way or another, right? So another reason why I believe we are a goldmine of tech innovation is because uh, we can come up with great ideas just by looking at our lives. Again, I'm going back to the same point. We shouldn't look at the West. We should only look in ourselves, and we'll find the solutions. And there are a couple of questions. For example, I'll give you just to list three that I usually asked myself when I was back home, on holidays and such. Right. I used to ask myself, for example, why do I have to wait for Mondakasi without knowing its arrival time? Is there an app for that? Why is it so difficult to get police emergency calls in Tanzania? Right? Is there an app for that? These are just basic needs, transportation, security, right? You'd expect us to do really good in that because I've just witnessed here we have amazing Android developers. We have amazing cloud distribution developers, right? We should have these solutions in our hands, right? Um, and another third question I asked myself, for example, why do we have to make trips to the bank all the time to collect bank slips so that we can pay for our children's school fees? Well, we have M-Pesa, Tigo Pesa, etc. And for this one, for the last one, this was a question I used to ask myself even before college, because I remember a few years back in 2016, I used to ask my dad this question. I was like, Dad, why can't you just pay them through Tigo Pesa? Like, I was studying at Feza Boys, and I was like, why can't you just pay them through Tigo Pesa or M-Pesa or something like that, right? I know you don't trust credit cards, but why don't you use this system? And he was like, oh no, it's what we used to. He has to drive to the bank and drive to my school. So then I was like, okay, I want to be the one to create a system for parents around Tanzania to be able to pay online through Tigo Pesa. So then I actually remember this is an email I sent, Tigo a few years back. And I was basically asking them how their API worked because at that point, I had already created a website that worked well, and it wasn't the most secure website, but it worked. It was functional. Okay. I created it in PHP and HTML and JavaScript after watching like kind of like five tutorials for around like 1 week on YouTube. I had never taken a college class before. I was just out of Form 6 at that point. And I remember I had so much impact at that point that I was able to have meetings with M-Pesa personnel, with Tigo Pesa personnel, and at that point they were just releasing their APIs. Um, and I remember I even presented it to a few headmasters and headmistresses for several schools, several secondary schools in Tanzania. And it gave me so much motivation, inspiration that with the few knowledge, with the little knowledge that I had, I could be able to make such an impact. And of course, the project halted, and I couldn't do so much with it because I had to come back to school and continue with my education. But point is, like what I'm trying to say is, at that point, I didn't have enough knowledge. Right now, I've witnessed amazing people doing amazing things. So what are we waiting for? Why are we sitting on this gold mine and not making these movements? Why are we not getting these bags? Why are we not securing these bags? Okay. So what I really want to focus on the title of this. I really don't want to move too much. I want to focus on this title, a gold mine of tech innovation, because this has so much implication. It's so deep, you know. Because when I was a high schooler, I used to look at the West as the best location for tech and tech solutions, but I was completely wrong because all I had to do was look back home. All I had to do was wake up and look around me to look for to search for tech solutions. And to be honest, I work at Google Payments, and the and I had so many offers to work on different products, to work at Facebook, to work at Goldman Sachs in banking and all that stuff. But I chose specifically to work at Google Payments because we are looking for the next billion users. And I won't lie to you, this is like our goal in the office. This is our goal. We're looking for the next billion users. And I won't lie to you, the next billion users will come from countries like Tanzania. Okay. And so we already know that. We already know that there is so much we can do in America. All the movements, right? Everything we make, all the decisions we're making while creating, right? We are looking at Tanzania. We're looking at Kenya. We're looking at India. Okay. We're like, how can we reach those people? Because they're sitting on gold mines. Okay. So that should tell us something, right? That you know, uh, like we we could build stuff. Okay, we could build stuff. We could build anything with our technology. But we have problems with even the basic needs in our country, and I think as tech innovators, we have this responsibility to build technology that works for our people. And the last thing that I want to say, I want to talk about privilege. Okay, Tanzania is a country with many challenges, as you all know, and we are lucky to even be here today to have this GDG program. I was lucky to be surrounded by a constant internet connection living in Dar es Salaam, as most of you are right now, as is in this presentation. I was lucky to be chosen to attend and present at this GDG in Dar es Salaam because so many others can't. Many Tanzanians are illiterate, and they have poor internet connections. We can't, like, right now when I'm in Tanzania, if my dad's house is burning, it's gone. If someone steals from me, I cannot call the police. Yet we're out here and we have so much technology and we have so much talent, right? And my question is, what are we doing with those talents, right? So the thing that I want to tell you is that, if there's anything that you've got out of this presentation, is that when we build or create applications, it's important to us. It's important for us to respect others' ideas. We're supposed to create for everyone. I really love listening to all the ideas that you guys have, right? We're supposed to create for everyone, meaning we're supposed to create for the kid in Kigoma, kid in Tabora, who don't even have like 3G internet or survive on 2G, and the kids in Dar es Salaam who constantly using 4G. So, and we're supposed to create so that we help people overcome these challenges. Because yeah, sure, I know Android, you know HTML, you know machine learning, right? And yeah, we can create an app like Snapchat and help people create filters on their photos, or create like funny animations, and that's cool, and we can make a lot of money with that. But the difference is that we can use our talents, and we can use them the right way to help find really, really good solutions. And hence, with these good solutions, improve the lives of many Tanzanians, and also give justice to the skills that we've been blessed with. And thirdly, I absolutely believe we'll make even more money focusing on these solutions than creating apps like Snapchat. To be honest, no offense, but you understand the situation in our country. Anyways, that's it from me. My name is Mohammed Jafari Mnete. And hit me up on LinkedIn anytime. I love talking about tech, especially with people from East Africa or Tanzania. And thank you very much. I'll take any questions now.
Hi, Mo.
Hello. Hey.
Thank you for your talk.
No problem. No problem. No problem. Thank you for
Uh,
having me. I'm honored.
yeah, and like it has been like a roller coaster. So I don't know if there is anyone with a question, but I would love to see you. Some of us think you are talking with maybe a ghost.
Oh,
Someone,
okay.
yeah.
All right. All right. All right. I'll turn on my
Some
camera.
of us don't know if it's really you.
Okay. Yeah. So I turned off my camera just because the lighting wasn't really good right now. It's morning, early morning. Yeah. Uh, yeah. So I see I have a question here. Yesai is asking what is my plan. So at work, I usually really emphasize. So we're oftentimes making decisions about products. Okay. Um, right. Like we think, okay, we want to release this new feature, and what does Muhammad have to say? They listen to me sometimes, and the most powerful suggestions I've ever made came from the fact that I share with them, like, I'm like, okay, look, this is how it works in Tanzania, and I'm pretty sure the same thing as in Kenya as well, right? So I give them this perspective that most of them don't even know about. And I think it's really powerful, and it really helps us push our products much farther. Um, no, I don't think I'm gonna create the next. I'm not sure if I'm gonna create the next Google. Hopefully, that will be something lovely to do. Um, but if I were to come back to Tanzania, which probably I think will happen in the next 4 years, 5 years, I'm trying my best to kind of build products that focus on, helping Tanzanians with the basic needs. So focusing on education, focusing on health, focusing on security. I think, we have tried different things. It's time for technology to take a stand and help out as best as it can. And I'm pretty sure I've witnessed here people building amazing products, doing amazing things. So I'm pretty sure we're capable of doing such amazing work. Where do I reside in SF? Oh, so right now I'm not in San Francisco. Right now I'm in Texas, San Antonio, Texas, and I'm working from home, though my office is in Sanibel, California. So Google offices, they're closed right now, and we'll resume physically going to the office next year around around June. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, thank you so much for having me. I can't wait to go to the next presentations. But yeah, thank you so much.